So, as you can see, this is a pretty small operation. I am just a guy doing this on the fly. You know, doing it because it's fun, doing it because it's great practice, I enjoy it, trying to get experience, and it's a lot of fun. This is one video, this is one that I've wanted to make for a while now. I had this camera for months, and you know, just wanted to do a video of some of my favorite shots so far. To that end, I want to show you guys 50 of my favorite photos so far with the Canon T7i Rebel, and kind of go from there. My good friends Brandon and I, he has a Pontiac Firebird that he inherited from his father, who loved taking out drives in the countryside in the summer months when it's nice enough to use it. Just taking photos of his car out on a forested road. It was really cool, really had a lot of meaning. This one is the Pontiac Firebird, low to the ground, real tight on the car itself. Blur out some of the stuff in the foreground, you know, just an interesting shot. Again, the inside of my friend Brandon's car, turning on the ignition to actually get us started and drive back home. It's an intimate moment. He's turning on the car that means so much to him. This one, obviously real close up on the headlight. I thought this was cool. You can kind of see like drops of rain sliding down. Just an unusual shot. You know, he's taking pictures of his car from the back end with his cell phone, just enjoying it, just having a good time. This photo I took down in Janesville, where I'm from. One of the birds circling overhead. There's always hawks and eagles that come around. So this one just flew right overhead, and I happened to catch it right at the right moment. There's a lot of geese hanging out at Monterey Park in Janesville, which is one of my favorite places to go to and take photos. I wouldn't really be in my element if I wasn't taking pictures of my cat, at least some of the time. So this right here, this is my cat, Rhodey. I was covering a high school graduation for my day job, which is a newspaper reporter, and this bird just starts running through the field and stops right next to the stage and just starts watching. I'm still really working on my micro photography skills, really trying to get those down. Kind of got the focus, the inside with the bulbs and stuff inside the flower, and just you see the textures, and I've never taken anything like this before that point. Near the riverbank along the Rock River here in the Janesville area, exactly as I was going for. I did everything exactly the way I wanted to. You know, that was a really cool feeling. And then there's this one. There's some bricks and staircases leading up to my apartment building that are cracked, really old, weathered. There's just this loose brick hanging out, so I just squatted way down and just snapped the photo. And then here's another photo of that cracked staircase, but a lot closer into the actual one of the stairs that had kind of collapsed a little bit. And you just see the textures of the stone and some of the rocks underneath it in the ground. Looking at the back of my LCD screen, I was excited when I saw that, because I was like, wow, that looked cooler than I thought it was gonna. This one here is my buddy Mike. We went out one afternoon doing some just portrait photos, just so I could practice portraits. We found this fire pit downtown by where I live. And he gets in there right next to the fire, and because you can see the fire reflecting in the glass, flower right by the river. Same day as we were going out for portraits, practicing the micro photography, you know, got up real close, snapped the photo, looked at it, felt great. And here's another one of my buddy Mike. He was so excited about this one, he actually made it his profile picture on Facebook, which felt great, because I was like, heck yes, I took a decent photo. So then this photo here, this is a very close-up shot standing right next to a tree that had some plastic wrapping around it, just keep it kind of protected. This was an interesting shot because you can see the bark of the tree kind of through the pieces of the plastic. As I was out one afternoon, looked up near a tree and just snapped the photo, And you just see this sea of green and branches in the tree. This one here has to be one of my favorites. Very fast shutter speed, the widest that lens can go on the 50mm, low mid-level ISO. You can see the water gently flowing over those rocks, and you can see the reflections. Super an awesome feel. I take my GoPro out a lot for like hiking videos, close-up of that, handy camera right next to some different clovers inside of a tree branch. Just kind of was interesting to me. This is a photo taken at Lake Koshkonong in Wisconsin. There's all these mossy green rocks there, and I was able to get a very fast shutter speed and take a photo of the waves smashing against the rocks and get that water in motion. This is a photo taken in Janesville at a Veterans Memorial Park. This one, it was interesting. I was laying down looking up. So this is a photo of one of my good friends, Trevor. We went to college together. He was nice enough to let me get some portrait practice with him too. There's this bridge at Petrifying Springs Park in Kenosha. He was just kind of chilling there. We had hiked for a good 2 hours or something. This has to be one of my favorite photos as well. I took this one while hiking on the Rockport hiking trails in Janesville, Wisconsin. And I've been on this trail, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say hundreds of times, because I was able to get one of the skiing markers. It was focused so clearly on the bark and the marking sign. Everything just meshed together beautifully. This is one taken on the Rock River, the fishing docks, or one of the boat loading docks, where, right next to some houses and stuff. Nothing really crazy happening here, but just a serene, like summer night kind of scene. And here's another one along the Rock River with one of those docks where people load onto the boats. Again, nothing real crazy happening, but just interesting to see. Near the docks on the Rock River, of kind of like some leaves in the mud, just sort of a kind of moody scene here. This here, I was super happy when I took this photo. There's just this algae in there, got all the colors. I was able to put my camera inside the fire pit. Right as the flame was igniting, I snapped the photo, and nice, rich, yellow-orange texture. You can see the coals very brightly lit underneath the flame. Something about it really just caught my eye. Attempted a self-portrait. I had it on a timer, standing near a park bench with an LED light filter, and this was just a good practice shot. And this is another one of my favorite ones. It's a reptile show that came through Janesville. They had bearded dragons like this one. You could just see the scales, like the horns on his chin. This chameleon that you see here, as I was taking the photo, he was shifting and like camouflaging himself, and I caught him right in the act. And I just thought that was so cool that I was able to catch that happening in real time. One of the reptile showers brought their iguana, and this guy was just so goofy. The whole time I was taking pictures of him, he was just eating leaves, just enjoying himself. And it's kind of yet another moment of capturing nature in its element. This was another one where as I was taking its photo, they were crawling towards the camera, just checking out what's going on. So this is a photo of my buddy Drew on a recent vacation we took to New York City. This is in Central Park near one of the pedestrian bridges. It was just funny. He's just there vibing out, just kind of dancing. And here's another one. This was taken in Central Park. Practicing that micro photography. I've seen this trick before on different channels where people get down to the ground, have some water on the pavement, and then it almost acts as like a little bit of a light reflector. Here's a photo of my friend Abby in Times Square. A portrait shot I was pretty proud of because it features her very prominently, very well lit, and then you see Times Square right in the background. And here's a photo from New York City in the Queensboro. Every single house had these special gated displays. Here's a photo of the Queen Zoo, some turtles perched on a log. This one was taken at the Queen Zoo inside an aviary, and there's birds flying all around us. At one point I was kind of looking down at some birds. I started to notice the texture of the walking path. I thought it was so interesting, so I wanted to take a picture of that close up. There's this bird that was just chilling inside a little pool of water. And then there's this one also taken inside the aviary, looking up at the sky through some giant leaves. So much sunlight coming down through the leaves. See every ounce of detail. So here's a photo taken from New York City as well, from the ground. You can see the skyline with the One World Trade Center in there and some of the other skyscrapers too. So this photo I took as my friends and I were going to tour the Statue of Liberty. I turned around and snapped this photo of one of the other ferries heading back to the city. And then here's a photo of the New York City skyline with Liberty Island in the foreground. And just seeing the two of them together, you know, it's one thing when you see them in these really professionally done photos, but when you get to take it for yourself, it's a totally different experience. Here's a photo of my friends Drew and Abby on Liberty Island, in front of the Statue of Liberty in the background there, and just took a photo of them vibing out, having a good time. And here's a photo taken of the Brooklyn Bridge. Interesting, because I've never seen it before. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you guys watching this, professional experience, stuff like that, you're welcome. Suggestions, ideas, feedback. You know of any cool places in the Wisconsin area, let me know. Hit me up, because I would love to connect with you guys and collaborate. Just hear what's on your mind.
Yeah.